Welcome to Unhealed Siblings, a series within Unfiltered, Unhealed, created for the siblings left behind. The ones carrying memories, questions, regrets, laughter, anger, and love that never really had anywhere to go. If you're new here, this isn't a show about finding closure. It's not about getting over loss. It's about telling the truth about what happens after, what happens during, when the funeral is over and everyone else seems to move on while you're still trying to figure out how to exist in a world without your brother or sister in it. The one person who was always assumed to be there from beginning to end. In our first episode, we talked about Mimi's brother Wesley. Today, we're talking about three more brothers. Two of Mimi's brothers, as well as my brother. 3 different lives, 3 different stories, 3 overdoses. And if you're listening because you've lost someone to addiction, I want you to know this conversation isn't about statistics, headlines, or politics. It's about people. It's about the siblings who grew up with them. The phone calls and knocks at the door that changed everything forever. The moments we replay in our heads, signs we wonder if we missed, guilt we carry, the anger we don't always know where to put. Because before they were overdose victims, they were our brothers. They had favorite songs, inside jokes, bad habits, dreams, people they loved, and many people who loved them. Today, Mimi and I are talking about what it was like to lose our brothers, what grief looks like years later, and why these conversations matter. Not because we have the answers, but because silence has never saved anyone. So wherever you're listening from, whether you're grieving, supporting someone who is, struggling yourself, or simply trying to understand, thank you for being here. This is Unhealed Siblings. Let's talk about them.
Well, tell me about Michael.
There's not really much to talk about Michael.
We'll talk about our dead brothers.
So we talk about when he died. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys didn't. You told me about you guys growing up. You didn't grow up with him technically.
No, he's 19 years older than me. He was around, I seen him a lot at my mom's and stuff like that. But he would come every Friday and pick Joey up, and they'd go get his check, go to the library, and clean his car up.
Oh, I didn't know him.
That was their thing. The last Friday I seen him, they were actually supposed to go to the library and get Joey his own library card. In the process of also cleaning his car and all that good stuff. He come to the house before he went to work to get his check. And he told Joey, well, let me call work to make sure they don't need me to work tonight. Because the Friday before they needed him to work. And he couldn't because he had Joey with him. And he called and he said they needed him to work. I don't know how true that was. So he ended up not taking Joey with him. He went to work, I guess worked. And then my brother got a knock on the door again because he lived with my brother Steven at the time, saying that they found him dead right up the street from my mother's. I was with Joe when my brother Michael died, and my sister came around to the house and knocked on the door, and she's like, "Mommy wants you." And I'm like, "All right, what's going on?" She's like, "Mommy wants you." And now, mind you, she's mentally challenged. I was like, "Give me a minute." So I yelled and I was like, "I got to go around the house. Something's going on. My mom wants me."
But you and Joe haven't been together for long now, right? This was
At that point in time, I was pregnant with Joseph.
Oh, and Michael died when you were pregnant with Joe. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I was 6 months when he died. But on the way around there, I'm like, "What's Mommy want?" "I don't know. Mommy wants you." I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" Because you could tell like something was wrong. "I don't know. Steven called. Mommy wants you." And I'm like,
did she know what was going on?
I think she did. But I don't think she even quite understood that.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
I don't think she still does to this day.
Girl, I'm telling you, I listened to she might be talking to him now. She's just like, yeah, I ain't telling you all about what I got going on.
Right. And I'm like, was something wrong with Steven's kids? Or Steven's kids okay? She's like, "Yeah, Mommy wants you." So I get to the house, and my neighbor across the street is standing in my house, and my mom's sitting there with a cigarette, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Yeah. Why are you smoking a cigarette?" And that's when she told me Michael had passed away. They found him in that hotel. they had went to Stevens because that's the address he had.
Yeah.
Because he was living with Steven at the time. And Steven called my mom to my mom. And I'm like, well, where's Steven? Like, how do you just want to call on the phone? Like,
Should
that's
your
not
ass
something,
up here to tell us.
right. That's not something you tell somebody on the phone. Like,
No.
your son's gone. Your son passed away.
No.
You know, like, they found him in a hotel. Like, that's not, like,
don't.
you didn't get a phone call. You had the
Yeah.
police show up at your door. You could at least have the decency to come and be there with your mother.
We told her that.
Right. Like, I feel like that's something you should have been there with your mom for. But him and I were together when he passed, and that was another show. I mean, he did give us a funeral with me for him. But he had an okay relationship with my brother Michael, too. Like, he knew him. But I was 21 by the time he passed.
Was it fentanyl? Was that around then?
I
Or it was
don't
just-
remember.
Yeah.
So at the time, my mom actually thought my brother died of a heart attack.
That's what my mom thought.
So up until my brother Steven died, I thought she was just telling people that. I didn't know that she truly believed that. Because for some reason, I knew he OD'd. So I don't know if it was he died of a heart attack and because he laid died and it caused him to have a heart attack.
I think he would have to submit.
So, but because I know drugs was in his system when he died.
He was in a hotel room. He was probably partying.
Well, he was at a party that night.
Was there any evidence there was anybody with him in the hotel?
I believe there was, but I don't know. There wasn't nobody when they found him. Housekeeping people found him.
When did he die? Because we have that Good Samaritan Law. What year did he die in?
06.
2006.
Yeah.
Did Maryland have the Good Samaritan Law in 2006?
Ew.
No. When did it start? 2015 is when it went into effect. That's so, like, you could call 911 if somebody overdosed
Right,
and you
you're not
wouldn't
getting in
face
trouble.
be a criminal. Even though just when I saved that guy over at the Boys and Girls Club was like a couple years ago, the cops were questioning me like I did something wrong. I felt like I did something wrong. I was lying to them. They're like, how do you know how to use Narcan? I was like, I saw a YouTube video. No, I just saw this. I'm like, yeah.
I really didn't know how to use it. I tried. I don't know what to tell you.
Just did it. Like common sense, Joe. I must have seen it though. Like I had to have, I would think. You know what I mean?
No, it's common sense. It goes up the nose. It's sprayed up the nose.
Yeah, I guess. I just knew what I was doing. And then he was like, the cops like, why do you have Narcan in your car? I'm like, it's my brother overdosed. Why don't you have Narcan?
Like, why are you questioning me about this? This would have been my question.
Well, the
like,
first question is, how do you know her? It's like, I don't. Like, she actually had stopped my dad, and the kids were in the car, and I was driving to Dunkin' Donuts, and I see this lady, like, screaming at my dad.
right.
And I drive by, and I was like, was that really my dad? I bust a U-turn, and I come back over, and she was my boyfriend. Something's wrong with my boyfriend. Just from the look of her, unfortunately, I knew. I was like, I got Narcan in my car. Do you need Narcan? She was like, yeah. And then I left my car in the middle of the street. I grabbed the Narcan and I run with her down the parking lot. Out her breath. And you know what? It was 2 years expired. And it saved his life. Like, don't ever get rid of Narcan if you have any.
You know, when I went to the hospital in West Virginia, when you go in the entrance, they have a whole stand there with Narcan in it.
Good. Oh, damn. You got the prettiest
Beautiful.
one, I
Thank
think.
you.
Okay, so Steven overdosed too. I have questions about, like, how you'll handle this funeral. But go ahead. Can you tell us something about Steven?
When I was home, taking a nap.
Well, tell us about Steven. Like, he was your brother.
Well, they were all my brother.
They were, yeah, I know.
I mean, you can't take that from them.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. But, like, you guys had a
But
different
Steven
relationship.
was my protector.
Yeah.
Actually, we were
yeah.
just talking about that earlier because I said it feels good to have a brother that'll fight anybody for you or beat anybody up and protect you. I said, you know, I think that's why I am the way I am. I was like, because I knew you could do whatever, but I could promise you my brother is coming back to whoop your ass when you're done. Like, so I didn't care. Because I'm going to
Well,
tell
that's
you.
the thing. Not only did you know that, it was like everybody knew that.
Right. Like, I didn't give a fuck with me. Go ahead. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to get your ass whooped when you're done. I might not be able to whoop your ass, but you're going to get it whooped. So, like, we had a very good relationship. You know, he had his bad times. I mean, he's the reason I learned not to trust people at an early age. You know, he's the first person that ever stole from me. Not so much as we had our bad times. There was just bad times that happened and, you know, whatever. But, like, I knew if I needed him, he'd be there. That's not who he was for everybody. I mean, he was that person for his family, but I don't know. I feel like we just had.
Was he like that with your sister?
He'd be there. They didn't always get along.
How close were they in age? How close are they in age?
Sherry were probably about 2-3 years apart.
Okay.
I mean, he still was protective of her. Like, you still couldn't mess with her. Like, he put her through a wall.
Well, I was just
But
wondering,
you-
because, like, how little of the sister were you? You know what I mean? But you were the baby sister.
I was the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, they fought. She was in an abusive relationship, and
Oh, your sister fought back.
this was back when she was straight, and this was a guy, and
Yeah, it's wrong.
I mean, either way, I mean, you know, she fought back, but he was a bigger guy. Like, my brother went after him a couple of times, but the guy would always run from my brother. He'd fight my sister, but he'd run from my brother because, you know, that's how them type of people are.
Yes, they are.
You know, they say they had a decent relationship. Like I say, they did a lot of fighting, but they got younger. So, like, I didn't have that kind of relationship as, like, the physically fighting and all that stuff.
Well,
That was them.
unfortunately, he overdosed, like, in 2020. We weren't able to have a funeral, and I feel like your brother died a few months after mine.
I don't know what year it was.
I know, what was it, a few months after my brother? I feel like it was. And
We
that was
died in
2020.
September.
My brother died in August. Yes, it was 2020.
Okay.
You guys had a funeral.
Yes.
Is that because, well, we couldn't have a funeral. Nobody would have let us.
But
Baltimore. So is that because of the funeral home?
we had to use a different one that time.
Oh, you had to because of COVID?
Well, no, we chose to use a different one because my mom was in a panic. It was like we had a certain amount of time that we had to get the money together and get him out of the medical examiner's office before they would just cremate him with everybody else. My mom had called that funeral home that we had used very many times and was like, you know, pretty much, can you pretty much just get his body out? Like,
Get him out, put him on layaway. I will pick him up.
we'll get the funeral situated and money.
I'm not going to leave him.
Like, clearly we're trying to get him out of this situation so that we can have his funeral. We just had to make sure we got our money together. The funeral home wouldn't. They said, no, you got to have the money up front before we'll pick him up. The funeral home we ended up going with picked him up. I mean, with us guaranteeing that we're going to have the money, picked him up and then let us come in and make the arrangements. So, like, when we went and made the arrangements, he was at the funeral home.
Well, Pat, so I guess you always knew that Steven and Michael had problems, though. Like, did it surprise you?
So, honestly, it did because, Michael, the only thing I ever knew of him when he'd party, I thought he wasn't doing anything because that's why he was living with my brother Steven getting himself together or whatever. So, yeah, that was a surprise, especially him. And then when Steven passed, he had been clean. He'd been on the program for many years, but other than that, like, he wasn't really doing any hard drugs.
Yeah.
So when he had passed and then it came back in the autopsy that he had pretty much OD'd, yeah, it was like, I wasn't surprised by it, but my mom was. And I don't know why I wasn't surprised by it. I guess because I was like, okay, this is, you know, he died instantly. I'm sure it was, you know what I'm saying? But I also know he was going through some mental stuff prior. So it was a matter of, did something else actually take him or did he do some kind of drug and die or what was it? So it was like a matter of waiting for that autopsy report to come back to know for sure what happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, by the time my brother died, I kind of like already planned his funeral. Went through dozens of overdoses. Like, did your brothers overdose before they died?
I don't think so. I don't know about Michael. If Steven had, it was like way earlier on.
I went through so much anxiety. But around the time we lived together, that my brother was going to die. So I guess by the time it happened, I was...
Well, yeah, I kind of like, I was always at that point with my sister. You kind of just wait for the phone call.
Yeah. I was kind of relieved. But oh my God, it hurt horribly, of course. You know what I mean? Like, it did. I don't want to ever downplay. Like, I love my brother to death and would do almost anything to have him back. My kids always come first, so. But it was kind of a relief because, like, I knew he was really sad. I knew he was really struggling.
Right.
I mean, you never know how bad it's going to get. Because we got pretty bad there at times. He was stealing from people. But he was doing dumbass criminal shit. Like, he's lucky. Getting away with charges again and again and again. Right, before he died, the last time I saw him, he came to get court closed from my mom's house because it was back in 20 years. Went to court and got off. And then it was fentanyl that got him. When I went to go pick up his car from the motel, was going through the car. He said he was going to make sure it was clean before I drove it. Come to find out, he ends up admitting this to me later. He found a pill in my brother's car. And he did it. Do we not think that this is a dead man and maybe we shouldn't do this?
Right.
Oh, and then he ended up dead a month later. But, like, they don't think. That's not
No, it's
them
just a
anymore.
high.
Something, a parasite has taken over. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even be mad at them, though. I couldn't. Because at that point, I'm just, you gotta accept what the fuck you see if you want to be around.
Well, see, that's the thing with me though. If they're on drugs, I choose not to.
Yeah,
I choose
I've
not.
done.
I have to separate myself from them in
I
that
did that
situation.
before. But then there was times, though, after my brother died where I didn't separate from them. Like, I brought friends to Pat's celebration of life thing and stuff like that. That was the last time a lot of people saw him. You know, like, I totally understand because I've been there.
Well, celebration of life is a whole different story. It's not just like hanging out with them.
Well, yeah, and I think we talked about that before. Everybody has a right to grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And
Everybody.
I'm glad I took them. I mean, some people had some shit to say because Pat had overdosed, and I have somebody there that's clearly high.
Well, everybody's always gonna have something.
But
to
I'm
say,
like,
but who
I
are you?
brought them. Shut up.
Who are you to judge somebody else?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
people like to have something to say and speak on other people. And
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of it is to speak on other people so that you're not paying attention to me in my life.
As we wrap up this episode, I want to thank Meme for sharing her brothers with us again, Michael and Stephen. To my brother Pat, thank you for everything you have ever done and still do for us today. To you all, thank you for letting us say their names out loud. One of the hardest parts about sibling loss is realizing that the world keeps moving while a piece of your essence is gone forever. People stop asking about them. The stories stop getting told. Sometimes it feels like everyone else has forgotten, but siblings don't forget. We carry them into every birthday, holiday, every major life event, and every ordinary Tuesday. That's why Unhealed Siblings exist. Not because we're trying to heal perfectly, but because our brothers and sisters mattered and they still matter. If you've lost a sibling and you've been feeling that quiet pull to talk about them, I hope you'll reach out. You can record your story on your own, write it down, record it together with me, or remain anonymous. There is no right way to participate. Just know there's a place for your story here, a place where they're remembered as a whole person, a place where you don't have to carry the weight of missing them completely alone. Until next time, still standing, still healing, still siblings.